You don't have to just take my word for it. Just listen.
I think we'll see Persona 5 do well for sure, but I don't think it's going to be sort of a revolutionary game.
Okay,
as it were.
Anybody else contend with that?
Yeah, I think it's it's just niche enough to not be able to get the same traction, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there you go. What's happening, YouTube? It's KMega405 live from the 405, where I'm just your regular gamer talking to the intelligent gamers. Now, look, I normally don't make a second video that's talking about a subject that I brought up weeks, months ago, or whatever. But for this whole niche word, and for the contradiction video, supposedly, and for just me talking about Persona 5 versus Final Fantasy versus RPGs, you know, it just needs to be addressed again and set straight, because there's so many people that have taken a turn to what I said in that video and what I was meaning and twisted it into something that's way more sinister than what the video was actually about. But what's been more incredible is the thing that I said in the video didn't get addressed. It turned into this ugly monster about that I was criticizing Persona 5 being a niche title. I never criticized the game. I've never criticized the series. I've just told the truth. It's niche. Now, even my boy Porter Rock, and shout out to Porter Rock, Triple Cup Chuck, and Jabari, and Z coming on to the show on GRG, and we was having a discussion, and we wanted to touch on that, but we were talking about predictions and everything like that. So yeah, go ahead and check out that podcast. It was grown men stuff, no bickering, bitching, moaning, sounding like some fools. We were just like, it was grown men. It was grown men talking about games, and it was really good. It was really cool. But anyway, my boy Porter Rock, he's coming making up a video talking about niche, and then he brings up God of War 2, which is, I'm going to touch on that in a hot second. You know, I'm going to debunk all that craziness. But what I was addressing in the video was about the media and how they give these overblown scores of 10s and perfects on all of these games lately, when I was just saying, look, you can't give every game that's on one certain platform 10s just because, and then have articles saying that you have the Zelda killer, etc. Because when you look at it, Zelda outsold Persona 5. Zelda is going to win Game of the Year, even though Persona 5 is going to be in consideration. Whoop-de-doo, that's great. No one's knocking that, right? You know, there's a lot of people that enjoys the game. And it brought a lot of hype and attention to the game. And when I go to GameStop and look at stuff, I mean, you see a lot of Personas there. So it's not that, you know, again, I'm trying to diss the game. I'm not. I didn't. I said I'm going to get the game. I was going to get it day one until Atlas did that crazy shit where they were flagging people's channels because they were showing the content. And, you know, doesn't matter how long the game is. If a person purchased that game, I can understand if they gave the game to some of these people to show the game off early and they didn't want them to show certain parts. But for the people that spent their hard-earned dollars and they flagged their channels because of that, I think that is absolutely wrong. I don't care what company that is. So that's what made me say, look, I'll just wait until it goes on sale, or I'll just get it eventually down the line because I got a back catalog. Anyway. So now, here to debunk all of this craziness that I'm hearing, right? Okay, so we have now alternative facts, and there's this new thing that's came about that's called selective facts. On the Multiplayer Thursday, all day, Porter Rock, you know, Gamer's Blood, all these other guys, they was coming up here jumping on me, trying to put me in a corner, saying that I contradicted myself because some troll made a video and chopped up things and said that what I was saying was a contradiction because I made a point of saying if you can't talk about the game you haven't played, that's fine. But see, this is where this is getting debunked. First off, I've played Persona 3, played Persona 4, even played the Persona fighting game that was on the 360 and on the PlayStation 3. And I've watched like maybe probably 2 or 3 hours of Persona 5 coverage to know that the game is no different than any other Persona, except for it's got better polish. It has some elements in there from what they had in previous games, like you can shoot the gun and some other elements. That's basically it. Pretty much it's kind of like a legacy game, kind of like how Tekken is a legacy fighter. Like once you play Tekken from Tekken 1, Tekken 3, whatever, and you played like Tekken 7, it's one of those games that still feel familiar. It's the same thing with Persona. It's one of those legacy titles that once you come in, if you played before, it still has the same feel. So again, I've played this, I'm familiar with this, and then also add to the point, it's a turn-based game. Not too many games are completely different from one another when they're a turn-based strategy. Now, this game that you're seeing right here, Last Remnant, it's a different type of turn-based because it adds more strategy into it, because you're working with more than one person at different times, or squads. But it's still a turn-based game, same as Persona 5. So it's not a contradiction. Because I haven't played Persona 5, I know what a turn-based game is. I've been playing them for decades now. So let's just get that out the way. Another thing, my boy Porter Rock, right? Bless his heart. He was trying to make his point. By saying that God of War, and I didn't listen to the video, I'm just reading the comments. I gave it a like, you know what I'm saying? Because I support people that do good content, and Porter Rock deserves all the credit he gets, because he works hard at his craft. But bless my boy's heart, man, because he was okay. Talking about God of War, God of War 2 is only 2 games into the God of War series, and for how many sales that it had, I don't know. Like I said, I didn't pay attention to the video, but for however many that it sold on the PlayStation, it was only 2 iterations. Okay. There hasn't been more God of Wars in the wild than there has been Personas. And we're talking about a franchise at the time that was fairly new compared to a franchise which was Persona, which was already out in 1996. So it already had a leg up over God of War because it's been out in the wild longer. But I just wanted to show you this. God of War in 2012 sold as a franchise 21.5 million. 21.5 million in 2012, and that's now counting what was on the PlayStation 4 or what the other what God of War 4 is going to do. When you look at Final Fantasy, 130 million as a franchise. But when you look at Persona, as a franchise that's been out for 21 years, only 6 million before Persona 5. So basically you put that 1.5 or 2 million, so you look at it about 8 million for a franchise that's been out for 21 years, plus the fact that Persona 5 is on the PlayStation 3 and the PlayStation 4, which is 150 consoles out there in the wild, considering Final Fantasy 15 was only on the new hardware systems, the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, which is around what, 90 to what, 100 million? We'll just say 90 million. Is why some of you ponies be going crazy. Y'all think that it's only like 20 million Xbox One in the wild. That's even more devastating. That Final Fantasy 15 obliterated the whole franchise of Persona 5's numbers in one game. And I know that they want to use those selective facts by talking about the personal accolades of Persona 5 itself, because it sold 1.5, close to 2 million. I get that. But as long as this franchise has been out, there's no excuse. If you're talking about Horizon Zero Dawn, Bloodborne, any of these games that's been on the PlayStation 4, that's their first entry, I get that. That's where you could talk about it. If you want to say ReCore is niche, I'm not mad about it. Why would anybody be upset because Persona is a niche title? It's not for everyone. When people see turn-based games, they kind of get turned off. And then this whole talk about, well, you cannot put a RPG next to a JRPG. What? Look, only thing that's different with a JRPG And an RPG is the J. It's because it's made by Japanese developers. They're all still RPGs. They're still role-playing games. So when I talk about The Witcher 3, I'm talking about the actual best game that's been out this generation. Persona 5 can be in that category. Nothing wrong with that. But when you don't want to include those games like Fallout 4 or Mass Effect or KOTOR, any of these great RPGs that's been out for so many years, and you just want to say, hey, Persona 5 is the best out of all of them, that's not a fact. That's just you being opinionated. Because if you really want to be factual, Final Fantasy 15, The Witcher 3 murdered Persona 5 in numbers. This is the reason why I tell a lot of PlayStation guys, stop talking about numbers and analytics and just talk about how good a game is. So get out your feelings and just accept that the game is niche, but it's a great title. That's all that matters. Peace.
Get back on track if you want me back. Don't you know? Do the sweet